man, if it wasn't for you, I would have quit. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to take care of my family. If it wasn't for you, teaching it the way you teach it, I probably wouldn't even stayed in the roofing industry. So,
bro, you guys, if we met somewhere in the middle, y'all could fucking really kill it, right? Have your hand in every fucking cookie jar.
the circumstances will never alter your intent. And then repeated circumstances become conditions, and then repeated conditions become traditions.
So, Dashaun, when did you know that sales was for you?
Oh man, when did I know that sales was for me? I would probably say probably middle school. Believe it or not, yeah, middle school. I wasn't selling nothing, but I've had a natural ability to always like influence people, to get people to do what I wanted to do, to get people to buy into my perspectives, my opinions. And people always used to tell me when I was younger, they used to say, you're either going to be a salesman or a lawyer. And I wanted to play football and rap, so I never really paid it no mind. But ironically, that's exactly what I ended up at.
Look at that. Is there a specific time that pops in your mind of your ability to influence individuals from a younger age, where you're like, so, now I know?
Yeah, so it's funny, man. I was in elementary school. This is such a funny story. But this is the first time I actually sold somebody on something. It wasn't no product, because I always tell people the first thing you can sell is you, and everything else just come through you, right? So I was in elementary school, and I sold my whole, I think it was my fourth grade class, maybe my fifth grade class, on that I had a twin. I sold my whole class that I had a twin. It was a picture of me as a little kid. It was me. And I told everybody, my name Dashaun, this is my twin brother Dashaun. And I sold it like for half the year until like my mom came in for like a lunch one day. And everybody's asking my mom, was like, dude, Dashaun got a twin? Dude, he got a twin? And she was like, he don't got no twin. And then, that's what that's what ended the lie. But that day I was like, man, I was able to keep a straight face. I was able to maintain my tonality. I didn't crack, I didn't fold, and I stayed persistent with the story. Very consistent, very persistent. And that was the first time I sold somebody on something, as far as like just getting somebody to buy into my influence and my idea. I sold people that I had a twin. And I want to say in high school, I sold people that I was Egyptian for a little bit.
That's what a great story, because I try to put myself in like that age bucket, right, in elementary school, and it would be very challenging to keep that straight face, that tonality.
Yeah, man,
keep the joke going kind of internally. That's so great,
right? It's funny, man. And the Egyptian thing, everybody was like, "You're not Egyptian." I'm like, "You can't prove it." And they bought it, man. They bought it.
So funny. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Mission Control Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Stearns, with Ascend Digital Agency. Shout out to Roofer. If you need instant roof measurements, clean and pristine proposals to send over to those clients that are just dying to buy from you, hit up Roofer. So, Dashaun, man, it's a pleasure having you today.
It's a pleasure being here, man. Yes, sir. Especially to start the new year. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I mean, we met for about 37 seconds at Roofcon.
Yeah.
I had the keg, which a lot of people. The keg went over very well, man.
Of course, it's roofers. They love to drink.
I love it when a plan comes together. I was like, I just know people are gonna come over and have a beer and chop it up a little bit. So that was.
It was a really great idea, and then you had on the astronaut suit, which was very captivating as well.
Well, yeah, that was. It was one of those things. I don't know what told me to bring it, because the plan wasn't necessarily to wear that, but when all of our trade show shit got shipped to the wrong place, and we didn't have we didn't have our backdrop, our pop-ups, our handouts, nothing. So we got a computer and myself and my guy with me, and I'm like, damn, we got to do something to grab some attention, So I was like, oh, I packed the spacesuit. Let's get it.
You did a great job, man. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It was a good time. What was your experience like at Roofcon?
I really enjoyed it, man. it's always nice getting together with the entire roofing community or as many people that could have came because after that hurricane a lot of people was wrapped up, so it's always nice just getting into the environment to see the new up and coming people, to see the veterans, to see people continue to solidify their name in the industry. And the best part is always meeting the people that support you because a lot of people support you, digitally from all across the country. So to see them in person and for them to be like, oh man, your videos helped me out so much. Oh, it's nice to finally meet you. Hey, I've been telling my manager to get you in here. Or people just say, man, I just want to come up and say thank you for doing what you do. That's like the best part about it. Of course, it's nice to go learn. It's nice to go network. It's nice to just get away from working for a little bit. But nothing beats getting in front of the people that help make your brand more known than what it is, right? Because we nothing without those people. Like you can sit here and talk all you want to about how you created this and did that. If nobody don't share, if nobody don't watch, if nobody don't listen, you ain't gonna get nowhere, right? So those are the people that make this stuff possible. So that's the best part always. That experience to be in front of them and continue to let them know we appreciate you. Because every person that I meet, I give them undivided attention, sit there and talk to them for 2 to 3 minutes, however much time it takes. Never letting them know that I'm too busy for them, but I'm here for them. So that was my favorite part of the whole Roofcon, man, was just being there for the people that support us.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. 1 and 2. I think that's really important. What you hit on as far as people that support you, whether it's from a distance, whether it's digitally, whatever the case may be, and then making them feel as if you've got time for them. And like you said, it might be a minute, 2 minutes, whatever that time allows, but there's a certain tact I think to go about that to where people don't feel like they're being brushed off, because that's a really shitty feeling. When you're talking to somebody and it's kind of like, oh, I'll be right back with you, and then they pop over, talk to somebody else. It's like, come on, man.
and what I've noticed as well, not judging or nothing, no names or nothing, but a lot of these guys spend more time talking to other influencers or other trainers, other coaches, other people that's already got a well-known brand, but them ain't the people that they're not the reason why you're there.
Right. That's a fact. Do you ever find, I'm interested in your answer to this, so you have a lot of people that come up and talk about the impact that you're making on their life, on their business, on their boss's business, whatever the case is. Do you ever find that you kind of undersell it in your mind, the impact that you're making at times, and it's kind of surreal when you get all these people that are coming up to you and telling you this?
Always, man. Because I don't never watch my videos. I rarely rewatch my content. So I put it out, and I'm like, it's out there. Let it do what it do. And then you meet people that you've never seen online. You meet people that you've never brushed shoulders with in any environment, and they come up to you and they're like, "Man, I hire my new people, and I always use your videos when I bring them in." Or, my new guy, he loves your stuff. He said, without you, he wouldn't be where he at. And you just over here think that you putting out a video and you got a few views. But then these people coming up to you and they're saying, man, if it wasn't for you, I would have quit. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to take care of my family. If it wasn't for you, teaching it the way you teach it, I probably wouldn't even stayed in the roofing industry. So I think sometimes we downplay the impact that we make, but also I think it's best to downplay it. That way you keep that hunger of continue to keep putting out content. Because I think once the ego get too filled up, you know what I'm saying? It get full, and once it get full, it'll get arrogant or it'll get content. So I like to stay humble with it.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's weird. It's like that fine line, because you drop a video that you spent 2 hours making and it gets 9 views, and it's like, shit, nobody's seeing this. And then you drop one and it might get a couple thousand. But then I think what's important when people are, if you're listening to this and you're just starting to create content, because video content is becoming bigger and bigger, short form content especially. Yeah. Don't compare yourself to what other huge influencers are getting by the numbers, because you can have 15 views and you can make a difference, and there's going to be perpetual growth with those videos. They're evergreen, they're out there, they're going to continue to be seen, even if it's a few here, a few there, and it's going to build your brand equity. I like the aspect of maintaining that humility, though, because I don't think that's always the case with some folks. So good for you.
I just tell people I have first movers advantage, man. I just got out there earlier than everybody else did. So now everybody looking like everybody want to do this. When I was doing it, when I started it 5 years ago, nobody else was doing it like that, except for Adam Benjamin, Becca Switzer. Them the only 2 people I saw online when I got started.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a testament to the fact that a lot of business owners, from my experience, and again, this is just my experience, maybe yours is different. A lot of them are apprehensive to embrace or to even lean into change. You know, what is traditionally worked, the status quo is kind of what we're comfortable with, and that's what we're going to do, and that's 2023. You know, we're going to do that. I think it's a really big mistake, you know, because if you, like yourself, you were an early adopter of video content, it's done a lot for you, right?
Yeah,
it's done a lot for a lot of people outside of you, right? So,
yeah.
You know, don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and adopt things before other folks do. It can be the next big thing, and you wouldn't even know it.
One of my coaches taught me a saying, and I love it. It say, intent alters circumstances, right? But circumstances will never alter your intent. And then repeated circumstances become conditions, and then repeated conditions become traditions. So most business owners live in a tradition. This is our tradition. This is how we've always done it. It's like when we raise as kids, right? If you got Christmas tradition, Thanksgiving tradition, right? And sometimes your biggest obstacle can be your traditions because you don't want to break them. This is how we've always done it. And I don't want to say a lot, but a good amount of roofing owners live in their own tradition. Well, this is how we did it back then. This is how we do it now. And those traditions imprison them. And then it stunts them from getting that next level of growth and getting that fresh perspective or tapping into that demographic that they're not able to tap into. So they can't get so caught up in their conditions and allow them to become traditions. So they got to continue to, you know, have the proper intentions to change their circumstances. But that's huge, man. They can't get caught in those traditions.
I like that. Let me ask you this. In that vein, are there traditions that you would advise not to get away from that you've seen folks kind of rally around and maintain?
So the way I view it is, I think it's some traditions that can always be enhanced. You don't necessarily have to get away from them, right? So, for example, my tradition when it comes to Thanksgiving with my family is, you know, we always cook the soul food, you know, the greens, the oxtails, the neck bones, the mashed potatoes, the macaroni and cheese. My mom, my grandma, they always cook, and we come together every year. So this year we tweaked the tradition, right? Which was, let's not do normal Thanksgiving food. So the tradition is we still get together and eat, but we tweaked it just a little bit. We did different foods, right? So it's like maybe a roofing company, their old tradition has always been to the sales rep do all of the work. He close the deal. He do this, he do that, right? That is the tradition. But maybe you could tweak the tradition a little bit and start to compartmentalize that process. So the tradition is the sales guy still generating the business. He's still possibly the main point of contact. But now it's other steps in the process to actually make the process more efficient versus one guy trying to do everything. So I think some traditions can be tweaked.
Right. So you've seen that before, where one guy tries to do everything and won't delegate, won't create the process?
It ain't seen it. It's very consistent and constant around the country, man. Because, you know, I fly around the country. I work with all types of teams. Yep. And I've learned the most efficient teams are the teams that have their sales compartmentalized. Well, your sales guy, like I know my dude, his name Jacob Fuchs. He work up in Georgia. He the dude that wear the short shorts. Awesome guy. He joined a new roofing company, and they compartmentalized his process. So he was able to sell almost like $4 to $5 million this year, one person, because he didn't have to do everything by himself. He had a guy that would go collect checks for him. He had a guy that would go get materials for him. He even had an assistant that would answer phone calls if he was too busy, right? Just to take the phone call to set up an appointment for him. So just streamlining the process and allowing him to focus on selling and do what he's really good at, he was able to like almost double his numbers.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, when I was listening to The Roofing Machine, I found the concept of the inside sales rep. I'm like, that is so intriguing to me. And then I started thinking in like my line of work, and like I was like, you know, let's people who can sell. Because all that other stuff, realistically, like I play basketball, and you want to know what pisses me off, Dashaun, is when I've got a big guy that can shoot, but he can also play in the paint, right? I can't go down and body someone in the paint the way somebody who's 6'4" can. But I can shoot the lights out too. So if we both got the skill set and you've got one that I don't have that can add value to the team, do the thing that you can do that I can or the other team members can't, and we're going to thrive together, right? Because I could also, just as quick as I could pull it, I could lob it down to you and you can get to work. it's the same thing with sales, right? That the ability to sell people isn't as ubiquitous as somebody taking a call from a customer to handle, a question that they may have. Why pull Jacob away from this when we could have anybody do it with the proper training?
Nah, you're 100% correct. And also, sales guys, sometimes their frustration, their agitation, their moods come through in their calls. So a homeowner call them, they're like, hello? What? I get right, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get back to you. And then a homeowner felt that versus like the way Martin does it. Inside sales rep, they delightful. They looking forward to talking to somebody. They got good moods, good energy, and the homeowner never even have to deal with those things. So everybody should play their role, and I think that's what makes teams great. And I ain't just talking about sales teams. I'm talking about like any team. Like, let's just give an example, right? Let's go back to the old Chiefs, right? And then they had Dante Hall. His role was just to be a kick returner. Yeah, that was his only role. He wasn't trying to be the number one receiver. Don't get me wrong, they would put him in, let him run reverses and stuff. But his main role was to get us 30 to 40 yards on the kick return. And when you can focus on that one thing you're really good at, like you said, I think that's when businesses thrive.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And if you're a big man that likes to shoot, I didn't mean to offend you, but I gotta tell you, that shit irks my nerves.
Like even Giannis can shoot, but he stay in the paint.
Right. Yeah.
So I agree.
That's good stuff. So what was your first official sales position?
My first official sales position, like before roofing, I used to work at Publix. You know what Publix is?
Yep.
Grocery store. Yep. And I used to be a customer service rep, and I was a bagger. And I was so good with people that my customer service manager, she said, the meat department want to steal you from us. I said, what? There's like, yeah, they sales are down. And they just need you to work the counter. You don't got to put up no meat. You ain't got to do nothing. Just work the counter and sell the meat, sell the seafood. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah. So I was like, all right, bet. So I went back to, and don't get me wrong, it's just like a car salesman. People coming to you, right? So It does make it a little bit easier. But that was honestly the first sales position I get. Somebody come up there and they say, oh, I see y'all got the shrimp on sale. And I'm like, yep, go good with the shrimp. We got the top sirloin on sale today, $6.99. Oh, man, they've been selling like hotcakes. And I'm selling the steaks, I'm selling the shrimp. And I'm like, you had these crab cakes? Oh my gosh, I made some samples today. I'm letting them taste a sample of the crab cakes. Oh, I like those too. Yeah, we can get you some crab cakes as well. So I would say that was the first sales position I really had, was working the meat department for Publix. And then from there, I got into roofing sales.
Well, that's amazing, by the way. Just absolutely phenomenal. What was the transition? Where did the opportunity come about? How did your interest become piqued in roofing?
So in 2015, we got pregnant with our first kid, me and my kid's mom. And we didn't want to do daycare. I didn't know how we was going to make that work. And my best friend, his really good friend, dude named Bryant, was at the bar just vibing, man, and I'm just out there talking to black people, white people, Hispanic people. It didn't matter. I just going up and talk to anybody. And he was just observing me. I didn't even know it. He was just watching me. And then at the end of the night, we dropping each other off. We calling the night. He was like, hey, man, I saw the way you could just talk to anybody tonight. I got a job I think you'll be great at. And I said, I'm down. He was like, all right, meet me in my office on Tuesday. I ain't even asking what it was, bro. He was like, meet me in my office on Tuesday, and we'll talk about it. And I come into the office, and he tell me it's door-to-door sales, and, you go around, talk to people, you sell them a roof. It's through the insurance, so it's pretty easy, da-da-da. They gave me a script. They told me to go home and learn it that day. And I went home. I told my kids and mom, I'm like, hey, my girl at the time, I'm like, hey, I got this job for door-to-door sales. They pay $200 a sale. I'm going to do it. And she was like, okay, well, you got a month to make some money. And if not, you need to keep your regular job. And I was like, all right. So my first week I went out there, I closed 4 deals, and it's been history ever since, man. Yeah.
What was
just an opportunity?
Yeah, and I mean, I think about it. It's like when you watch somebody kind of be able to run a room like that, right? There's a bunch of different people, and you see somebody connecting with. I could see, like, if I'm the business owner sitting in that bar, I'm just kind of elated and so happy because I know that, yes, he can thrive in the ecosystem that I can provide, and we can both make a lot of money. Oh, that's amazing. What was your biggest struggle in the first 30 days in transitioning to door-to-door sales?
the biggest struggle I had, honestly, was it was a lack of self discipline, self mastery, right? So I came from a 9 to 5. I was used to people telling me when to go to work, when to go to break, when to go home. What to do at work. Hey, Dashaun, we need you to go do this, do that. So when I got into door-to-door sales, it was just like, hey, here go the neighborhood, go knock doors. And I'm like, so nobody ain't finna watch me?
Right.
It's like, nah, you just go do it. So I'm like, oh man, like, so I would go. It was some days, man, I'd go kick it with my homies for like 2 hours, and then I would go knock doors. Or it'd be some days where I would just sit in the neighborhood and just not get out the car because I'm like, I wasn't as mentally strong as I am now when I first started. So I would get in my own way. So my biggest struggle, honestly, was overcoming myself. It wasn't the fear of talking to people, because once I got to talk to people, it was easy, right? Like I said, I was a natural talker. I wouldn't say I was a natural salesperson. I was a natural talker. I can get people to like me and they would want to buy. So these days I've developed the skill set, mindset, principles, strategies, all that stuff. But the biggest struggle was myself, man, just overcoming me, just getting out of my own way, realizing that I don't get paid by the hour no more, which means like most employees, they can show up to work, do nothing, and still get a check. The way we do things, you can't just show up to work and do nothing and get a check.
Right.
You got to show up, hit the doors, go through the adversity, deal with the rejection, overcome things. So I had to learn like, oh, it ain't about how long I'm out here. It's about how efficient I am when I am out here. So then I made it my duty to start getting better in a short amount of time. So I would only have 4 hours some day, and I'm like, how many deals can I grab in 4 hours? How many deals can I grab in 2 hours? So I started getting more disciplined. But that's the biggest struggle, overcoming myself, getting more discipline.
Were there specific things that you did or something specific that you did that helped kind of expedite that heightened sense of discipline?
It was just an epiphany one day, man. Like, as I was out there working, it just clicked in my head. It was just like, I don't get paid for my time no more. And once I understood that, like once it registered with me, I'm like, whoa, it ain't about me showing. Because at first I thought like I just go out in the field and I'm gonna get paid. You know what I mean? I just hit the neighborhood. Right. No, it don't matter. I'm going. And then I was like, no. I got to hit the neighborhood and get results. And if I don't get results, I can't take care of my family. If I can't take care of my family, I'm letting my kids down. I'm letting my girl down at a time. I'm letting myself down. I'm letting down somebody else who believed in me. So then I started taking it serious. I started paying attention to the homeowners, what they were saying, what they was doing, how they was moving. And then I slowly started chopping this thing like one step at a time, one step at a time. I think a lot of new sales guys get in and they try to do 100 steps the first month. And it's like, nah, it's just one step at a time, man. Like, first thing first, let's get good at our script, right? Okay, boom. Second thing, let's just get good at talking to people. Just casual conversation, whether they sign up or don't sign up, who cares? Let's just get good at talking to people. Then let's start paying attention to the objections that they throw my way. Okay, all right, I'm starting to hear these objections more often. Now, once I start hearing these objections more often, now let's start coming up with ways to overcome these objections when they do pop up. Okay, now let's start finding out how to find efficient neighborhoods. Now let's start figuring out how to transition better. So just like step by step. But the biggest thing was just like, it's on me now. And if I don't win, it's on me. If I win big, it's on me. So I couldn't blame nobody else. So that was the big epiphany that I had, that like it was all on me.
It's great to feel that sense of control, I'm sure, once it clicked, right?
Yeah.
I guess it could be scary in the beginning, but it's also an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it scared a lot of people, man. When most people get into this industry, I talk to them, and they used to certainty, they used to consistency as far as receiving a check every week, every other week. The risk is what scares people the most. But what people don't understand is most of the successful people that you know, it all came from taking a big risk.
Oh yeah. Can anyone be trained to be a successful salesperson?
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. I believe everybody can be trained. Now, do I believe everybody will endure until as long as it takes? No. But I do believe everybody can be trained, because I've trained people. I've had people it's a guy right now, his name Richard. He works for the company that I work for. It's called Classic Roofing and Construction over here in St. Pete, Florida. And he been doing this for about 2.5 years now. His first 6 months, 8 months, bro, he wanted to quit. And I was like, just hold on with me, bro. I promise you, I got you. And he would call me every day. I would coach him up. I would give him the mindset. I would teach him stuff that I teach. other people. I mean, it got to the point to where he even paid me $500 just to go knock doors with him consistently because he knew I was busy. And I poured it to this guy. He had another guy named John. John taught him how to sell retail. I was polishing up his mindset. December of 2022, this past December, he did $430,000 in a month. And when he first started this thing, this dude barely can cross like 40,000.
It's amazing.
And I'm telling you, he's the most like, he's so likable, like naturally, but he also has high level of validation, like the need to be validated, the need to be affirmed. So when people tell him no, he get beat up like pretty fast. But I'm telling you, this man made a whole 360, not 180. He made a whole 360. And he ended up the top salesman, I think, for the company that we work for this year.
No shit.
So I believe everybody can be taught, is whether you have the endurance to deal with all of the adversity that's going to come with this thing.
Sales is not an easy gig. No.
And that bothers me too, man, because in the roofing industry, people love to say, it's the easiest job you ever have. It's such an easy sale, especially insurance people. It's such an easy sale. And I say, you wonder why people quit. You tell them it's easy. They get out there in the first few weeks. They barely can get a deal. And if this is what easy is, they couldn't imagine what hard is. So they quit.
Yeah, it's funny. I come from like corporate sales. I worked doing what I do now, but I worked for a different company selling, and that's how I got all my knowledge as far as learning everything that I know. But it's crazy how like even internally there, it's like all the departments like low key and sometimes high key like hated sales, and you could tell like that tension, right? You guys make all the money, you do all this. I'm like, bruh, I'm putting in contracts at 1:30 in the morning after a 2-hour pitch on a Tuesday night while my girlfriend's telling me that she hates me because of it. Just kidding, Lacey. She never said that. But I'm saying, though, like no one said is going to be excited about you working on a join me or a Zoom call at midnight trying to close a deal, right? I'm like,
yeah.
You know, you gotta do it. You gotta do what needs to be done. So, yeah, it's that tension between departments was always real, to say the least. It's interesting.
I even hear about it in roofing companies sometimes, too, how office admin get upset with salespeople because of the money they make. And I say, well, hang up the phones and go knock some doors. It's that simple, man.
So is there a trait, personality wise, or is there a characteristic? Is there something in somebody that you'll see and point to and think that they have a competitive advantage over most other salespeople?
I know, outside of mindset, because I think that's the number one attribute, skill set, that if you have that over most people, you'll dominate them, right? Like the right mindset as far as like mental fortitude, mental toughness. Outside of that, it's the ability, the fearlessness in random conversation, if that makes sense, right? You know how some people just don't care what they say, how they say it, and who they say it to?
Yep.
Like, you ever met that person? It's just like, man, you say whatever you want to say to people.
You got no filter.
I believe those people got a unfair advantage over most salespeople. Why? They breach boundaries. They okay to like get up in your personal space verbally, while most people couldn't fathom saying that to somebody. Mm-hmm. They can't be like, "Well, I can't believe you said that," right? Those people who are willing to say whatever they want to say to people with the ability to keep a straight face, to the ability to like, I wouldn't even say offend people, because you'd be surprised how many people you don't offend when you say whatever you want to say. Most people in their head think somebody's going to be offended by it, so they don't say it. So I think that person that has that ability to just like have any type of conversation, say what they want to say, when they want to say it, how they want to say it, I think those people got an unfair advantage of people who are very cautious of what they say, who they saying it to, not wanting to offend people. Because once I developed that, which I always had it, but once I brought it with me in door-to-door sales, things just started, the numbers started going up tremendously.
The fuck it mentality, no filter. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say whatever I want. They got an unfair advantage. I can see that. That makes a lot of sense. It's
And
a
the
really
thing
good
about
point,
it,
actually.
some people really good with it with people they know. It's when you could do it with the people that you don't know. That's the game changer. That's the game changer. Because you know you got that friend that's in your circle that always say the crazy stuff, but then you put them around strangers and they're a completely different person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're a completely different person. But when you could do that all the time, say what you want to say, how you want to say it, and people just like, what? And you just keep doing your thing, I think that's the unfair advantage because then a homeowner will come out the door and you'll say whatever you want to say to them and it catch them off guard, but they like it because they ain't used to that type of stuff.
Yeah, jarring initially, but yeah, I think there's something to be desired about that. Like somebody who can kind of take you out of your element, but not make you feel as if you want to slam the door in their face or never talk to this person again, right? It's refreshing.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
it's refreshing. Yeah. I think it almost puts people at ease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I think it's such a raw version of you.
it's authentic.
Like
right?
as that, yeah, it's authentic.
Yep.
It's so authentic and the raw version of you that people are like, oh, I could be me, and they just come out and they give you a different side of them.
That's so fucking good. What's your favorite? What's your go-to when you're approaching a door? Somebody pops the door open, and I'm like, I open the door and I'm like, can I help you?
See, it all varies, right? Because it all varies how somebody answers the door, right? So, first of all, I'm coming up, I'm scanning the environment. I always tell people you need a high level of awareness when you knock at doors, right? And when I say awareness, I don't mean the people, I mean like everything, right? Pay attention to cars, leaving, all this stuff. So I'm coming up to the house, gauging the environment, and you come out the door. Let's say you say, hey man, how can I help you? I say, man, I actually might be able to help you. The homeowner here? And they might be like, what? How can you help me? Well, if you let me know you're the homeowner, I can help you. If you're not, I don't want to waste your time. So even that initial reply, people looking at me like they kind of like, what? Huh? And then they might, well, yeah, I am the homeowner. Perfect, man. I've been talking to renters all day. So anyways, my name, and I just come back in there and I go right back into my pitch, right? Because now they feel special because they're like, okay, yeah, I'm a homeowner, so yeah, he gonna talk to me versus the other person, right? I teach salespeople all the time. Don't follow other people lead. You lead and let other people follow. So what do I mean by that? You got to have a little bit of defiance when you're selling people, and people think it's all about being, cooperative and getting along with people and all those things. It's not, man. You got to have a little sense of resistance, a little sense of disobedient when you're selling people, because that, believe it or not, that grabs more attention than the yes man.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's a great point. So let me ask you this. Are objections overcome before or after the potential customer brings them to light?
So I've heard them both ways, right? I know some people that say, I like to cover all the objections, that way they don't got none. I'm the opposite. I look at objections like boxing, right? So what do I mean by that? It's like, if I throw a counter punch and you didn't throw a punch for me to counter, you gonna knock me out.
Right, hand will be waiting for you.
Yeah, like you looking, I'm just throwing it and you looking right, and boom, you can knock me out. So I believe some guys love to handle all the objections, and sometimes the homeowner might not even be thinking about that. So now you just created a new problem. Now you got to double back and deal with that problem that you just created, even though they weren't even thinking about that initially. So I like to bob and weave with objections. So I like to have all my objections prepared to answer. Like whatever you say, I got something ready, but I'm just gonna let them casually come. So instead of saying, like, as far as insurance-wise, I'm saying, nope, your rates won't go up. You're not going to get dropped. Only thing you pay is $1,000. Like, I know everybody asks all these same questions. I don't like to do it that way. I like to let people to throw the objection out. I like to overcome it because now I look that more elite. I look that much better in a homeowner's eyes because they throwing out their hardest things and I'm boom, 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 right in that moment versus trying to say them all before they mention anything. And they might still be like, nah, I'm good, and just close the door. So I believe you let the objections come and then you overcome them, because most people, they get exhausted from making stuff up. Like after a while, they're gonna run out of objections. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna run out of them. But I feel like if you try to overcome them all before they say something, I'm a firm believer the homeowner who talks the most will always buy. So if you saying everything and your homeowner not even engaged in this conversation, they don't even got to keep going. The objections don't matter because they didn't say none of them. You brought them all up, and they can still sit there and look at you in the face and be like, "No, I'm good."
I've never thought of it that way, but that makes a ton of sense. Standing all my beliefs about sales on their head. Damn it, Dashaun. Is there one sale, is there one sale that you could think of that you're the most proud of, where you're like, I wish everybody that I know or am going to train or have trained were able to be sitting there and just watch the transition of this sale, who was like absolutely out to come full circle to all the way in?
Yeah, so I got two, but this is probably my favorite one. I was working
I'll
in this
take both of
neighborhood. All right, I give them to you. I was working in this neighborhood, highly worked neighborhood, right? I mean, everybody done been in here, so I'm stepping in here, back coming in, and I knock on the dude door. He like a tall dude, you know what I mean, very firm, and he can just walk out the door and he say, "We don't need anything. We're not interested." That's his first three words. "We don't need nothing. We're not interested." And I looked him dead in his face. "All right, cool, man. You must not want a new roof like everybody else been getting." And I just turned around and walked off. Like, I ain't try to plead my case. I ain't try to say nothing. I said, "Well, you must not want a new roof like everybody else." And I turned around and walked off. And as I'm walking away, all I hear is say, "What you mean everybody getting new roofs?" And I smiled, right? But then I turned back around and I say, "Well, have you noticed all the new roofs that's been going up?" He's like, "Yeah." And then I kicked him my spiel. He signed up. He ended up having damage, set the appointment, come back, closed the deal, and we sitting in the house. And he's just like, "I want to let you know, man, you good." I was like, "Thank you." He was like, "A lot of people that came to my door." He's like, "Nobody is able to get me." He was like, "You really good at what you do." He said, "I'm a VP of sales for a technology company. If you didn't tell me you were so like loving what you do, man, I would try to hire you on the spot right now." He was like, "Not many people can sell me, and the way you did it was nothing like I've seen before."
Yeah, I feel like the guys in as such, he probably has a big ego, and that takeaway, and that little bit of a little jab on the way out, enough. It's the fear of loss, right? It's that value that everyone else is getting that he's now not going to get because you're like, fuck it, and you're indifferent, right? I tell everybody, I'm not a sales coach, but one thing that I know for a fact is desperation's never a good look, and indifference sells, right? I'm
Hands
like,
down.
think about the girl. If you're texting that girl every day, if you're all over at the bar, she don't want nothing to do with you, cuz.
No, that's the truth. It's funny because when I teach the 4 impulse factors, I always tell people indifference is the best impulse factor that you can ever embody because it's natural human nature. When you feel like I need you more than you need me, I don't want you. Oh. And then when you can show that you don't need me, then I start to crave you. It's a story in the book called The Laws of Human Nature, written by Robert Greene. And he tells the story of Coco Chanel. And a lot of people don't know this, but she was the first one that started creating perfume. She would put a bunch of flowers in a bottle. You know what I mean? Chanel No. 5, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And she would just put Chanel and a number on it. And nobody knew what it was, and they couldn't get the ingredients. She wouldn't tell them. And since she wouldn't reveal nothing about it, they craved it so much. And she would make a perfume and make a clothing line. She would disappear for 3 years. Damn. And then everybody would be like, "Where's she with at? Where's she with at?" Then she'll come back, drop new clothes, sell like hotcakes.
That's some wild shit.
Yeah, man. When I read that story, I was like, wow, that's powerful. So, it's so true. Desperation is not attractive. And then I would say the second story, a quick one, was is this dude probably had like a 90 square tile roof. It was a gated house. And the gate happened to be open that day. I'm training 2 new guys, so I was lucky, right? 2 new guys in the truck. I'm like, let's go. We pull into the house. We knock on the dude door. He come outside and he say, "Hey man, we're in the middle of eating dinner." I say, "You know what, man? I completely understand. I'm trying to get home and eat dinner with my family as well. I'm assuming you're the homeowner here, right?" He say, "Yeah." I say, "Hey man, I just want to let you know you live in a beautiful home. And I'm assuming the only reason you live in this house because you took advantage of opportunities when they came your way, right?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You see that gate right there? I know it ain't always open. So I had to take advantage of that opportunity and come in here and let you know what we doing, man. My name Dashaun," and I kicked my spill. He was like, "Yeah, man, you can go ahead and check it out. You can get up there and inspect it."
I mean, that's some high level shit right there. Well played, sir.
And I'll be 100% honest with you, Mike, man. I made it up on the spot. It was not planned. Don't get me wrong. I done threw it into the repertoire now. But I
Sure.
made it up on the spot. And the two guys I was training, they was like, what the hell, man? I was like, that's why you just got to be in the moment with sales sometimes. Because I do believe you need to learn a script. You need to embody a script. But then also you got to learn how to be you all the time. So like I said, when we was talking about a second ago, that guy that can just say what he want, when he want, how he want to anybody, that's that unfair advantage right there.
What a fucking way to articulate it in a way that it's almost impossible not to engage with that, right? Trying to
Right?
get home
You
to my
got a
family,
beautiful
too.
home,
I want to
and I know.
too. You
Right?
got flatter 'em, very successful for take advantage of opportunities. That gate's not always open. Oh, I mean, I would have fucking bought too. So, yeah, I would have let you up on the roof. That's amazing. Holy shit.
It is like a wealthy neighborhood. It was like right by the water. Like it was a beautiful home, and I already knew. I'm like, man, I know this dude gonna say, "What the hell you doing in my house?"
Right. That's funny.
So yeah,
Tell me about a time where you crashed and burned.
um, crash and burn. It was probably like my first 2 years, man. Because I ain't gonna lie to you. Once I got my script down pat, it was rare I crash and burn.
Yeah.
But I know this gonna sound silly, and I'm pretty sure other guys have been there. But I'm probably like on year 2.5. Yeah, I'm probably like 2.5 years in. Knock on the door. Uh, the person comes to the door and he's dressed like a woman, like a full blown woman, like halter top, Daisy Dukes on, some boots, a wig, and I literally opened the door. I said, "Oh man," and I couldn't even get my pitch out, man. I just like, "Hey, how you doing? We in the man. You have a good day." And I just I just walked off, man. Like I couldn't even. My brain was so confused by the whole scenario. I couldn't really get nothing out, man. It really messed me up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I made a comment to Tim Brown yesterday. I said perfection's elusive, so you know, not many of us are going to be perfect. So
That probably was the one. But other than that, most situations, I'm always locked in, man. Because I'm always training. So since people are always watching me, I always feel like I got to be on my A game. You know, so when people watching me, I rarely crash and burn. But by myself, man, yeah, it'd be a different scenario sometimes.
oh man. So, what do you see changing in the industry in the next 3 to 5 years?
Outside of insurance companies making things more difficult, which I believe that got to flip as well, because homeowners starting to become aware of it now. So homeowners starting to be just as offended as roofers are. And I think once homeowners get just as offended and feel just as disrespected and take advantage of as roofers do when it comes to helping these homeowners, the insurance company is going to be in for a whole lot of trouble, because now they got homeowners suing them over roofing companies suing them. And that's the people that keep them in business. So I think in the next 3 to 5 years, I think you're going to see a shift in homeowners starting to realize that it's homeowners and roofers versus insurance companies versus how insurance companies try to make it them and homeowners versus roofers. Right. I think that dynamic is going to change very soon. And in the next 3 to 5 years, I believe one thing for sure, roofing companies are going to get a lot more compartmentalized. I know some people do it, some people don't. But I think reps are going to start going to the companies that they can do less work, hypothetically speaking, and make more money versus these companies that's offering them more pay but take more of their life away, where you got to go get the job, go get the materials, do all those things. I think that's going to be a big shift in the industry. And then anything else that I would say, I think coming in the next 3 to 5 years is probably obviously a new batch of trainers that's going to be coming on, man, because a lot of these guys coming in, they sharp, they smart, they hungry, they consistent, and they're bigger risk takers than a lot of us are, as far as like these guys starting companies at 23, 24, 25, 26 years old. I got in the industry at 25 years old. These guys starting with a company, don't like what that company's doing, and they saying, I'm going to go do it better. So I think a lot of these young guys is about to, start joining a new wave of coaches and trainers and influencers into this industry. So I think if you an older person, I don't want to say older as in age, but I mean older as in like you've been here for a while, you better start innovating and elevating, man, or embracing these young guys and getting them on your team before they knock you off your pedestal.
I think that's some really fucking good advice. Because like we kind of talked about earlier, people have a tendency not to embrace that change, and I'm going to do what I've been doing, and it's been working so well until someone disrupts that model or gains that influence, and it's like, where'd all my food go? Mm-hmm. Shit was all good 100%. Just a week ago. Oh man!
And I think you're gonna see another shift in the next 3 to 5 years of dual skill set sales guys, which means guys gonna be able to sell retail at a high level and sell insurance at a high level. I think it's gonna stop being either one or the other. I think it's really coming to a point to where you have to do both. If not, you gonna feel that pain.
I think it would serve all parties involved, the homeowner, the roofing company, the sales rep, very well for that to be a more abundant skill set amongst salespeople, right?
Yeah, it makes too much sense, man. And I used to fight it for years, but these last 2 years, I'm like, man, as a retail sales rep, you get money faster, you're more valuable, and you got a different level of skill set. You got a different level of tenacity that our insurance sales guys usually don't possess. And what do I mean by that tenacity? I mean a retail salesperson used to asking people for $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, and I need half of that right now. An insurance guy saying, "Yeah, you know what I'm saying," and I need that today. An insurance guy like, "Oh, you ain't got to worry about nothing but $1,000." And I say that because I'm an insurance guy, so I'm not down in the insurance side. But a lot of those insurance guys, they've never touched a big amount of money from a homeowner, except for when they collecting that check on the back end after they've done all the work. These retail guys used to seeing that type of money up front. So it's easy for them to take their emotions out of the sale and say, "You owe me this. Give it to me." Insurance guys they negotiate, they bargain.
So what is that? Is that just a shift in training then?
It's a shift in training and it's a shift in mindset,
I feel like, like I said, I think it would benefit everybody involved. God, you know what's always intrigued me is and I've talked about this a few times, so sorry audience, but I'm gonna keep banging this drum. You've got the predominantly retail companies over here, and then you got the predominant storm companies over here. These guys are all lead gen, and we're gonna do Google, and we're gonna do Angie, and we're gonna do all this, and their sales reps aren't gonna do shit to generate opportunities. And then you got this guy over here who's like, "I'm just going to fucking hire more door knockers, and I don't care about Google." It's like, bro, you guys, if we met somewhere in the middle, y'all could fucking really kill it, right? Have your hand in every fucking cookie jar. I don't know. Let me ask you, because I always assume this. So you're in the trenches, and you've been doing this for a long time. I assume that door knocking can be for a lot. It seems like a taxing job. Like it's not easy, right? To go out there, especially when it's hot out, banging on doors. You get a lot of rejection, right? I'm assuming, even if you're good. And because I did collections for a long time, and I think there's some correlation there. Y'all are the real MVPs though, because you're out in the elements, and I'm sitting in an air conditioned offense when I'm doing. But every time someone picks up the phone, it's like, fuck off, don't fucking call me again. But I feel like it would be really nice if I'm door knocking to have an opportunity Monday morning maybe to go see someone who wants to see me, who's like, "Yeah, come sell me something," right? Like this person was looking for a roof and they just want to be sold. I think for like the psyche of it, wouldn't that be like beneficial?
Yeah, I think you need both. So one of the first roofing companies I worked for, because I don't work for like 3 now, but one of the first roofing companies I worked for, that's how we did it. We had to knock doors. And then they would give us leads that was vetted by the inbound salespeople. We had like office girls. They would vet the calls, set up the appointment. Yeah, people are doing this. And then they would give us appointments like that. Like if you was a good closer, you would get appointments. So you had that luxury of like, "Ooh, I got 3 appointments this week, 4 appointments this week. These people looking forward to me. They looking to file a claim." And then once I hit that neighborhood, I got that deal. And now I got neighborhood momentum, and I'm finna knock this whole neighborhood because I'm already helping one homeowner. Yeah, but that's I actually get hired by a good amount of retail companies because their sales guys don't know how to generate their own business.
Dude.
And people so like short-sighted. They only view door knocking as like it's for storm damage. I say no. Door knocking is for getting business, getting leads. So of course I'm gonna lead that door knock with a free inspection. You may have storm damage, but then when I don't find no damage, I already know how to sell a retail roof. So I'm gonna come down, tell them your roof 18 years old. You got X, Y, and Z's left. Have you thought about replacing it? Oh, yes, we have. Awesome. If we was to provide you with financing with this amount per month, would that be within your budget? Yes, man. Awesome. We're going to do this. Let's set up another appointment. And I work with John Dye Company because that's what they do, majority retail, a little bit of insurance. And we set up 18 retail appointments when I was out there training, man.
That's crazy. Yeah, but and like you said, that comes down to being able to do both. And it's just there's so much opportunity, and I see all the time with retail guys. And I'm not bashing retail. Majority of my clients are retail, but it's not always. It's always like we'll just spend more money on this. It's like let's get your sales guys to do some shit that can make an impact. You'll be more profitable, I promise.
Hands
just
down.
give me more money.
When I look at retail companies, and like this ain't nothing bad on retail companies. It's just they fund their own business.
Mm-hmm.
They fund their own business because, like, their guys don't generate them business. So they just pump money back into their company, buy their leads, teach their guys how to close them, and then they're keeping their company afloat. The thing I do like about insurance companies is the guys help keep the company afloat. So don't get me wrong, that don't mean they valued better, they treated any better than other companies. But a retail company, like, man, we could fire you, hire a new guy, teach them the same thing because we paying for these leads. Mm-hmm. When the insurance guy, when you learn how to generate your own business, you bring more value to yourself, and companies don't want to lose you. If I'm giving you the leads, bro, I could pay somebody else and train them to do exactly what you do. When you bringing in leads, you the guy I don't want to lose.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. You're less disposable because you're bringing in opportunities that otherwise wouldn't be there. Mm-hmm. It's interesting what you said, too, about, you lead with a free inspection. You get up there, there's no storm damage. Your house is 18 years old. I mean, you're in Florida, right? You said St. Pete. So, and by the way, in the next year or two, you're going to get one of these notice of cancellations anyway. Yeah. And they're going to drop you. And then you're not going to have the luxury of having the options or the time that you have now, right? Like, see that shit happen all the time.
All the
listening
time.
to calls, like, I got a letter from the insurance company. I'm like, yep, that's a sale. That's good.
I'm dealing with a lady right now going through the same exact thing.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. You got any questions for me?
You do marketing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not I can think of as far as like, if anything, the questions I would be asking you is like off camera questions, just me and you chopping it up like man to man, human to human. But yeah, nothing business wise that I can think of.
Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. But yeah, dude, that's there's a ton of golden nuggets in here that I'm really excited for the audience to consume. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. Dashaun, I appreciate you as well, my friend.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah, we up out of here. Peace.
Yeah.